Should we make out? I just love this man, I'm sorry, I do. Anyways, I am honestly scared of picking up the next book. She'll probably hook up with Santa Claus's son. I am not gonna talk about this book, you've seen enough. I'm afraid this book single-handedly just like ruined Christmas for me. Unfortunately, romance books and I do not go well together. I don't know if I can confidently call myself a romance hater, but I am definitely, unfortunately, not a romance girly, no matter how hard I try to be one. First and foremost, in the romance book, I am looking for a plot. I am so sorry. I may come for the spice, a little bit of smut, but I don't stay for that. If the romance book has nothing else to give but the two characters with the main purpose of becoming a couple, I don't want it. I'm sorry, I don't want it. Number two, I need the characters to be realistic. I need to believe that these are people that I can actually meet in real life. I can be neighbors with them, you know, who knows? Three, I really need these characters to have backstories. I need to know what motivates them to make certain decisions, to make certain choices, to give up on certain things. I really need them, again, to be real people with real life problems. I'm rooting for them, I really am, but I need something to root for. And number four, I am not necessarily always looking for a happy ending, for that standard cookie cutter type of romance. Honestly, if you give me a well-executed romance with a heartbreak at the end, I will eat it up. With all of that said, for this week's reading vlog, I decided to challenge myself and only read holiday romance books for the entire week. Now, this is really stepping out of my comfort zone for me, but you know, I am not the one to back away from the challenge. And for this video, I scoured the internet's highs and lows to find some of the best holiday romances to enjoy with you guys. Before giving you the list of books I selected, I'm going to start by saying that I actually know very close to nothing or very little about every book. I really just love going blind into books and not knowing what's going to happen. I think it's more of an enjoyable reading experience, for me at least. So here are some of the books that I selected. We're going to start with the one that I anticipate reading the most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ellie Carter. All I know about this book is it's about two writers and they are setting off to England to a mysterious writing retreat, I think. Choice number two is Megan Quinn's How My Neighbors Stole Christmas. Now, this book I've seen all over my For You page, all over my YouTube. This is definitely the book of the season, and I don't want to miss out on it. I want to give it a go and see if I enjoy it. Book number three has a title that I have definitely difficulties to pronounce. Elfemies to Lovers by Jennifer Chipman. All I know about this one is that it's set in the North Pole. She's an elf, and he's Santa Claus's son. Dragons don't do happy holidays. Dragon shifter and witch, holiday, romance, fantasy, small town. I don't know what other tropes are in there. I'm excited. Big Nick Energy by Morgan Elizabeth. Some of my absolutely favorite booktubers read this book and they cannot stop talking about it. I want to be in the loop. Holiday Romance and Snowed In by Catherine Walsh. I'm putting them on the list because I also heard a lot of good things about these books. And last but not least, we have Cruel Winter with You by Ellie Hazelwood. It is a short Christmassy novella. I believe it is just under 100 pages. I will obviously not be able to read all of these books in one vlog. I wish. I do have two jobs and I also try to enjoy life outside of them. So we will see how many actual books I will be able to read. But I am excited nonetheless. Like I said, romance is something new for me. So I'm hoping that I'll be finding new favorites in this video. Also, just to make things a little bit easier for me, I did already went ahead and pick up my first read for the vlog. We're going to be starting with The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. The reason being it is a Libby hold and I want to get it read as soon as I can so I can release the hold and let other people enjoy it as well for the season. Now for the next reads for the vlog, I don't know. I think I'm just going to be solely going off of my mood or maybe using the help of like the random number or wheel generator. We will see. I really don't know. All right, you guys, let's stop talking and finally get to reading. I'm so excited. Okay, I've just got another 10% into the book, and let me tell you, I'm pretty sure you'll be able to see, but every time this man says something, it's so funny, I cannot not giggle. It's kind of setting up to be a Knives Out style romance novel. I don't know how to explain it, but they're in this big mansion. And the person who invited them, I'm not going to tell you who it is because it's kind of like a little bit of a plot twist at the very beginning of the book, but I was still surprised. And they are setting up for something very grand. And I believe that something will involve a murder or a murder mystery or something like to be solved. And Maggie and Ethan are going to work together. because currently I am reading police transcript and it says excerpt from the official police interrogation of Margaret Chase and Ethan Wyatt, our main characters. What happened? He keeps calling her random names. Like, he used to call her Marcy and she's like, that's not my name. So he started calling her Margaret, her full name, but then he keeps inventing these middle names for her. I don't think we even know her real middle name, or maybe we will find out in the future, but like so far he just like Margaret Olivia, Margaret Eugene, and she's literally fuming over it. I'm loving it. Guys, it is literally the next day. Last time I saw you, I believe I was at like 25%, I want to say. I read a little bit since then. I am currently on 45%, almost halfway through. And let me tell you, I did not expect this book to, maybe because I never read like any blurbs or anything like that on the book. Oh, not blurbs. I was meant to say synopsises, right? Is that the word? Guys, I don't even know. Description of a book. I really don't like reading those because I like going blind into books, and sometimes I feel like a good description of a book on the back will just like ruin the book for you. What are you doing? This book just turned a completely different direction from what I thought it was going to turn into. There's no romance. There's absolutely no romance. There's like no yearning. There's no passion. It's definitely not a, what do you call it? Like an insta love. They are not in love with each other. As a matter of fact, she still doesn't really like him at all. So I believe last time when I like checked with you guys, we were going to England to this mansion of like supposedly their biggest fan because they invited them to stay over for Christmas. Well, they're in this said mansion, but then something happened, someone disappeared, someone almost ended up dead, and now they are kind of like investigating all this. But at first, Maggie, our girl, thought that it was a competition. Again, I can't say what the main prize of the competition would be, but then like Ethan is like, no, the stakes are too high. Excuse me, ma'am. So they are both kind of like joint forces on, I don't know, investigating, seeing like what the hell is going on because everything is too much. Ma'am, can you just please be decent? Thank you so much. I thought it was just like a silly, cute workplace Christmas romance. It is, not that it's not silly or cute, it actually is. I'm literally dying over this book. Ethan, the MMC, he's crazy. He's literally crazy. He's like very handsome, and he knows that he's handsome, and he knows that women loves him, and he's kind of like jarring, but in a good way. He's very sweet. Like every time when he sees that our FMC Maggie is about to blow up because he's getting on her nerves so much, he literally just like comes out and says, should we make out? Like, sir, can you please shut up? But I think the jokes are fun. The banter is bantering. I'm loving it. And we're kind of learning Maggie's background a little bit more. So it goes like sometime in the past, and we are learning about her personal history and why she ended up like not liking Christmas or the holiday season overall. And then we're kind of also slowly learning why she dislikes Ethan so much, because I think I mentioned before that he doesn't really have a problem with her at all. And this like thing that he does when he like pretends like he doesn't know her name, or like he calls her every other name in the book, like every other middle name. That's funny to me. I don't know. That's like prime literature. Like he actually knows her name. He actually knows her date of birth. Like he actually thinks very highly and fondly of her. And when he told her that, she was like taken aback a little bit, but like she's basically a shell of a human. She protects something inside her. We still don't know what, like 45% way through. There's kind of hints of it definitely throughout the book, but like the meat, the gist of it, we still didn't get to it. So hopefully soon, I think I'll be able to read the entirety of this book in one sitting. If not, I want to get like at least into 70-75% so I can finish it. Where are my headphones? I need my brown noise. I love her so much. Also, I don't think you guys met my cats yet. The black one, she's nowhere to be found. Her name's Ash. And this little girl, well, anyways, this little girl, hi baby. Her name's Nova. She's my firstborn. Want to give a kiss? Or literally not. I just love this man, I'm sorry, I do. Not her actually seeing this guy as cute, charming, and sexy just because he put on thick black rimmed glasses on. But also, same. I just love reading. I don't know, like, how can you be hating on people that love reading? We're just like sitting here on our couches, literally giggling to fictional words. Just remember Marcy. Just remember Marcy. I'm sorry. I just had to stop reading for a second. I am 70% into this book and I cannot stop reading it. The nuances that we are finding out about main characters, especially about our girl Maggie. Now she is me, I am her, and I'm literally reading this and I'm like, oh my God, the constant self-doubting, like basically minimizing myself. I always question my choices, and I basically all the time have like the choice paralysis about it. And I think it's so beautifully portrayed in the book, just through her author career and through her like writing books and stuff. She also has a very tragic backstory of her ex-relationships, or actually ex-marriage. This is not a spoiler, we find out about it very early in the book. In my opinion, like when I say it's bad, there are some scenes that she's like going through right now and she's like telling us it's bad. I don't know, it's just something hit me in this book and I'm like, wait, this is actually really good. So maybe I am a romance girly, I don't know. This book is just so good. It resonates with me, and I really love the male character as well. He's not just like a tall sexy man that's purely there for like our whatever enjoyment and just like to satisfy our, you know, I don't know, cravings for handsome man in books. Like, he actually has depths to himself as well. He has a backstory, it's also tragic, and they're like sharing it and they're learning a lot of new things about each other, and I am just loving it so much. And hello, she's back, she just can't, oh, there's another one. I don't know how to show you guys, hold on. Like, she's just staring at Christmas lights. I am here surrounded by my cats reading this book and literally obsessing over it because it's probably one of the best books I've read in a while. I'm loving it. Like I said, we're 70% in and they only kissed once. This is what I'm looking for in a romance book. I may come for the smut. Smut may be like fun, haha, but I'm not staying for the smut. I'm staying for character development. And this is giving character development. Let's get back into reading. About to finish this book and I just wanted to get my reaction on camera because I don't know, I am speechless right now. It's also 9:24. Like, it's time for me to probably go to bed because I have to wake up early tomorrow to go to my morning job, but I am still here, sat, plastered on this couch. I haven't moved for like 3 hours. Here we go. It's the last, literally last chapter. Are you kidding me? Why am I crying? Like, it's not even, I shouldn't be crying. There's nothing sad happening. What? Not me literally crying over a romance book. The book is done. What am I supposed to do now? Even though I don't really do star ratings, but this is like a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 100 out of 100. Go ahead and read it. I will probably have more cohesive thoughts for you guys tomorrow because I just don't even know what to say anymore. We'll talk about the book a little bit more in depth later. I'm gonna go and shed another tear or two. Good morning. It's the next day. So you may have seen from the last clip of this video that I did in fact finish The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. Let me talk a little bit about this book with you. Let me just like a little bit. Let me indulge myself. This was one of the best, if not the best romance book that I've read this year. Maybe ever. I don't know. I'm still high on the emotions that I got from this book, so I'm saying this is the best book. It very well might be. Okay, let's like set my emotions aside. Let me talk a little bit about the plot. So we have two main characters, Maggie and Ethan. They are very successful authors in their own respective fields. Maggie, our girl, is like a best-selling cozy mystery and thriller type of author. And then Ethan is what they call a leather jacket author, or basically just a dude author that writes action-packed thrillers and action-packed mysteries. The two characters also have some type of history that we are learning throughout the book. It is messy, like it's messy. Okay, so this like history between them kind of led to them hating each other, or so they think. They have this like preset ideas of one another. Favorite thing about this book for me was not even like the plot, which again, I'm yapping too much and not getting to it, but okay, just give me 1 second. The favorite part for me was the romance, because it made sense. It wasn't just like out of the blue, oh my God, I love you. Like, how did I never see you before? It was not like that. We did not have like an insta lusting over each other or like insta love. None of that. Literally none of that. They didn't even kiss. I'm stuttering. They didn't even kiss until like 50-something% of the book. It wasn't a smutty book either. Like, and I enjoyed it profoundly. It was like a breath of fresh air. I did not need any smut in that book. It would have been so out of place. I adored it. I literally did. The romance, the banter, the jokes, like the fictional lines on the page made me laugh out loud. And that rarely happens. And that to me is automatically 5 stars if I did give out star ratings. But also another thing that I really enjoyed is that the characters are like, they felt so real. Like whenever they said some stupid shit in the book, they would automatically clock themselves. It's like they had like this consciousness that they used, even though they were fictional characters again in like a fictional novel. You know what I mean? It felt so real. Anyways, I can talk about it for like literally forever. Let's talk about the plot. One day, our girl Maggie receives a very cryptic invitation to go spend Christmas with her #1 fan somewhere in England. And she's like, wait, if they're my #1 fan, that means that they are reading like a lot of murder mysteries. That's it, I'm gonna get murdered. But then she thinks about it a little bit more and she's like, you know what? I need a challenge. I really need a challenge. Our girl, she's been dealt the shittiest deck of cards ever. We will find out in the book why and how. So she's like, I need a break. I need to shake things up. Next day, she gets to this airport, whatever, private jet type of parking space. She's like, oh my God, they're rich. She gets on the jet. Ethan is there. I mean, are we surprised? Ethan is literally there. He's like smirking, grinning. He's like, oh my God, should we make out? I need to stop falling in love with fictional man. Anyways, all right, so on this private jet, they're like, well, we can't do anything about it. We're literally like up in the sky. What are we gonna leave or something? So they get to England, they land, they go to this big mansion. So the setting, think of like Agatha Christie novel. We have English tea rooms, we have like a butler, a maid, we have these like Duke and Duchess in there. Everything for the atmosphere, everything is like thrown in there for the set. Then we actually meet the mysterious #1 fan right away, but I'm not going to tell you who it is, even though it's literally on like the synopsis of the book. But I think it's better not knowing because it was like a shock factor for me very early in the book. And I was like, ooh. So yeah, they spend the first night in this mansion. They're like, oh my God, this is actually really nice. They're having fun. They're meeting a lot of people. Boom. Next morning, they are solving a murder. Now, the solving murder part was also very satisfying because it tied well together into the plot. It wasn't done for just like the purpose of them getting together. Again, the romance made sense. And the ending of the book, don't even get me starting on the ending of the book. It was so satisfying. The ending, how, I'm telling you, chef's kiss. This book was chef's kiss. Enough. You go read it. Thank me later. This is one of the best holiday books that you can ever pick up. Maybe ever. I don't know. I love this book. I love this book. I'm sorry. I don't make the rules. I really love this book. Now for the next read. I have to leave for work in about 15 minutes, but I am hosting today. I'm not serving. Hosting is definitely a little bit easier on the brain because you're not like constantly involved with people and stuff like that. So I can maybe sneak a little reading time while I'm standing there because the side work is not really demanding either. I can just like go and have it done ahead of time and just like enjoy my little book while nobody's watching. My problem is, after reading The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, I don't even know what I want to pick up from like the array of books that I selected and showed you at the very beginning. I really don't think anything's gonna live up to it. Also, how funny is that I literally told you at the beginning of this video that I'm like, oh my god, I'm not a romance girly. For me to love the romance book, like this, and that needs to happen. And it all happened in the first book. Hello? Here's the thing. I have absolutely no idea what to pick up. I really don't. So we're gonna do a random wheel generator. And we're gonna pick our next read. Got all my books entered. They are in this wheel. Let's go ahead and tap and see what book I got. Wait, what is it? Okay, Cruel Winter with You. That's a little novella by Ellie Hazelwood. That's perfect. I can literally read it while I'm working. It's only 55 or 65 pages. So it should not be an issue. And then I guess I'm gonna check back when I finish the novella. Guess who? Literally me. I just finished The Cruel Winter with You, or The Cruel Christmas with You. Guys, I don't even remember. Honestly, Cruel Winter with You. I don't know how I feel about it. Okay, so a little bit about the plot. Our two main characters, whose names I successfully forgot, even though I literally finished it like 40 seconds ago. I think it's Mark and Jamie, but don't quote me on that. So we started the novella with Jamie coming into Mark family's house to ask for like a cooking pan dish, something specific for her dad. Apparently they're neighbors. Also, very early in the story, we learned that they are childhood friends, to the point where when Jamie was 2, Mark was born. So he's like 2 years younger than her. And there's this scene very vividly described as she like gets to hold him for the first time. And I don't really know, something about it kind of worried me a little bit. This novella literally was giving major One Day on Netflix vibes. So we get to know their story from when they're like teeny tiny babies, growing up, going to school together, how they're like first friends and then not friends. And then they're both adults, and then Mark becomes this very successful tech guy, and she's studying and now practicing to be like the pediatrician, I think, or surgeon, pediatric surgeon, something like that. I don't know, something to do with medicine. And it's giving one of those episodes like later on in the show, one day, where like he visits her and she's like getting to be an established author, and he's like this TV star, and they have completely different lives apart from each other. But it's obvious that they're like still liking each other or still want to be together, but it's like wrong time, wrong place, something like that. Anyways, that's what that novella gave. I don't really know how I feel about it. I just like read it and I was like, okay. The other thing that I couldn't really like, I don't know, fathom is when he would like tell her like, oh my god, I love you so much, and she's like, I'm literally like a big sister to you. Ma'am, like what is this? Don't bring this dynamic in there. Like, I don't know, it's just like I said, I just finished it and I was like, okay, off to the next one. Maybe it's because I'm in a very shitty mood right now as well. But I'm ready for my next read. I told you guys, I don't know, I did not really like this. Well, it was a good novella, but I don't know, nothing like outstanding. Definitely did not top off the first book of the reading vlog. But you know what? I think I still have that random wheel generator that I made. Yes, I do. Perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and delete Cruel Winter with You, and we're gonna see what it picks next for us. Let's go ahead and spin. I don't know, I'm like not in the mood to particularly read anything specific, but whatever it gives me, I'm fine with. Wait, as I was saying that I'm not in the mood to read anything specific, but I really wanted to pick up the elfemies. I still don't know how to pronounce it. Elfemies to Lovers, I think that's how it's pronounced. She's the daughter of the head elf, and he's Santa Claus's son. Like, hello? It's a holiday romance about an elf and Santa Claus offspring. I don't know how it's gonna go, but that was actually secretly what I wanted to read deep down, but I decided the fate to do the bidding, and it did not do me dirty this time, so thank you. literally page 2 of the book, and I am kind of taken aback a little bit because we're set in Central Florida. Not me thinking. Okay, so that's a drawback of like going into books completely blind, because I thought this was like a fantasy type of deal, and I thought that he was actually a son of Santa Claus and she was a daughter of an elf. No, they are in a theme park in freaking Central Florida. Her name is Ivy Winters. Maybe it's a little bit too early in the book. Well, it's literally 3rd page. So yes, Oksana is probably a little bit too early. Premature to say. But I think this is the epiphany of those romances that piss me off. But we'll see. I don't think I'm gonna like this one. I hope I'm wrong. Okay, so like remember I said she works in a theme park? Yeah. Well, he probably is the new exec that they're talking about. That he's young, handsome, and eye candy. Her friend called him an eye candy. Oh my god. I really don't think I'm gonna like this book. A Christmas-themed amusement park was a part of my family's business holdings. Klaus Family Enterprises. Wait, he just said something and I was like, wait, what? I think he is actually Santa Claus's son, because he mentioned that he lies to people that he's from Alaska, and then his last name is Clausen instead of Klaus. His also name is Theodore. Like, what? Theodore Klaus? Whatever. But he lies to people that he's from Alaska, and he's actually from the North Pole. Is his dad actually Santa Claus? And then he also said, this is why I didn't want people to know who I was, but it was hard to ignore the Klaus Family Enterprises company card with my name printed on it. Still, they didn't know who I really was. That was a secret I couldn't share with anyone, no matter how much I wanted to. I met someone in real life, and I'd be like, I'm from the North Pole, and I'm actually from the family of the Santa Claus. Mental institution. I would never, mental institution. We're not talking. Don't call me, forget my name, literally do not, like, I don't want to talk to you ever again. But in this book, she'll probably hook up with Santa Claus's son. I can't. Yeah, so I was wrong. She is actually an elf or something. They've known each other for 1 week. Maybe saw each other for like 3 times during this week. He is already asking her to come celebrate Christmas with him at the North Pole. Although he didn't say North Pole, but he's like, will you come back home with me? Everything I said about a little Christmas novella by Ellie Hazelwood, I loved it. You know, I loved it compared to this book. I absolutely loved it. These are the type of romance books that I cannot read. I just cannot read. It's just, I mean, is it entertaining? Sure. But I am not paying attention to the plot. I'm paying attention to like how ridiculous this book is. It's not cute. Well, for me, I'm so sorry if you like it. I am so sorry. For me, not cute. Not like, I'm not giggling, kicking my feet. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. He's like obsessed with her from the very first page. To some, I know it's very appealing. To me, I'm like, this is not real life. This can, it just, and I know that it's just a fictional work of whatever writing. It's literally a romance book, but it's just like, that's exactly the type of romance book that deters me from picking up this genre. I am 20% in. I'm on chapter 7 and I am trying really hard to read this book, and I will probably finish it tomorrow, like I said, and I'll give you my final thoughts. But for now, it's just, you know, I want you to know that it's going a little bit rough. He's already calling her sweetheart, and that low-key is pissing me off because, again, they've known each other for a week. That's 7 days, maybe excluding the weekend. Oh, and now she agreed to come home with him for Christmas. She doesn't even know where they're going. She's like, where are you from again? Bam, that's the perfect recipe to get murdered somewhere in the wilderness of Alaska or something. Freaking North Pole. I am coming to you after finishing Elfemies Two Lovers. I just dropped my phone behind the couch and I did have notes about this book on my phone. So I guess I'm just gonna totally go off script. I'm afraid this book single-handedly just like ruined Christmas for me. It was so bad. It was so bad. I'm so sorry. It was so bad. It had zero plot. It was basically the spicy scenes were not even good. Okay, so a little bit about the plot. That was completely irrelevant to the story, apparently. Like, we kind of got introduced a little bit of plot points, but it was not needed. It was just vibes, not even good vibes. Like, yeah, on the Christmas scale, how Christmassy the book was, I would give it a 10 out of 10. There was every single Christmas activity in this book. Wearing matching PJs, when like staying home, drinking hot chocolates, watching movies, building gingerbread houses, decorating Christmas tree. Now those scenes were like cute, okay? Now the plot. So she, guys, follow me. So she works in this, I think it's called Christmas Land. It's a themed park in Central Florida. So she's a Floridian. She's a Florida girl, okay? She works there as an elf or an apprentice to an elf, something like that, but she's a manager. He is a new CEO that's coming into town to check out his park. They randomly meet one day when she's having like an altercation with a client. He steps in, allegedly saves the day, even though he didn't do shit, honestly. Like, he just stood there. Now, he also kind of has a little fight with her because she's so feisty. She's not. He randomly starts calling her Poison Ivy. I was gagged. So they meet, right? They met each other during this whatever preparation for Christmas in this Christmas Land theme park. A week goes by. He's of course already in love with her, which, by the way, there's absolutely nothing to her backstory than her having strawberry blonde hair and being an orphan. He goes, hey, how about you spend Christmas with me and my family? She's like, bet. You don't even know his real last name. Oh, because he's keeping a secret that he's like Santa Claus's heir, basically, right? Because who would believe that he's from North Pole? So he lies to her. They're going somewhere in like northern Canada or Alaska, I don't even know. So they fly there. He uses magic to make her fall asleep. Hello? And he puts her on a reindeer and takes her to the North Pole. While on the North Pole, she wakes up and she's like, where are we? And he's like, I can't tell you. So it's called kidnapping. I disliked every single page of it. I'm so sorry. I blew through it because it wasn't like long or anything. But this book just did not make any sense. And then just to tell you how effed up this is, one of the spicy scenes took place on Christmas Eve on the back of Santa's sled. Anyways, I am honestly scared of picking up the next book because, like, what if it's as bad as this one? I cannot have two bad books back to back, and I don't want to choose. Again, I kind of want the random wheel generator to do it for me, but again, I dropped my phone behind the freaking couch, so I'll have to go get that real quick. But we'll pick another book, and that's probably going to be the last one because the week is approaching its end, and I still have to edit this video and then put it up, obviously. Okay, guys, we're back in business. The random generator set up. What is it? I literally just said, I hope I don't get How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. No, because it says we have a winner, but I don't feel like I won anything. Let's see how big it is. 482 pages. Typical time to read is 9 hours and 38 minutes. That's a lot of hours and a lot of minutes. I think I will help myself out on that one, and I will get an Audible book.
Every Kringle in Kringletown celebrated Christmas a lot.
Okay, I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. We have it ready to go. I'm gonna read through it a little bit and then I'll get back with an update when I have one. Just got off work, drinking some warm water with honey. You guys would not believe what happened to me last night. Last night before bed, I was reading my book still. By the way, reading update, I got into 20% into the book, the How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, but about that a little bit later. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a melatonin pill. I usually do, not every night, but I usually do. I took it and it's stuck in my throat. and I can still feel it on the back of my freaking throat, and nothing helps. Back to the bookish updates. I'm loving the book so far. I gotta admit, I'm loving the book so far. So we are in the Kringle town. It's a very small town. Our main character arrives there with her sister to take care of their aunt who recently broke her hip. Unfortunately, she's an older lady, so she can't really take care of herself. So that's where the two sisters step in. They do have some history with the town. They used to visit their aunt all the time when they were like kids to celebrate Christmas with her. They're very close. I think there was mentioned in the book that they're like even closer than them and their parents. So we also meet our MMC, Cole Black. He works on this farm. They like grow Christmas trees. They take care of reindeers, stuff like that. You know, just a brutal man with a freaking axe. And this town is famous for its annual Christmas Kringle competition. Anyways, whoever wins this competition is like named the star of the Kringle town, and they have this title for the year. Anyways, it's like the most beloved competition with locals. So unfortunately, since she is our aunt. Unfortunately, since our aunt broke her hip, she could not compete this year. But she is a diehard fanatic of this Christmas competition, so she just has to compete. Story, our girl, Story Taylor, she's like, you're gonna compete on my behalf. And before you like argue with me, I've already submitted your application. She's like, hello? And she doesn't really do Christmas. She's from California. Okay, she's like the Valley girl. She doesn't do cold. She doesn't do winter. She doesn't like it anymore. And she obviously doesn't do Christmas. Well, this year, she's gonna have to, because Aunt Cindy is not passing on winning the freaking competition. Now, our boy Cole, his best friend, Max, but they're like looking through the list of contestants, and he's like, wait a minute, Story Taylor is on there. What the hell? So he's like, I'm not going to give it to her. She's not going to win the title of the Kringle, whatever, Christmas princess. She doesn't like this town. She doesn't respect its traditions. She just basically like takes a big dump on our community, right? So he's like, you know what I'm going to do? Out of spite, I'm going to enter the competition and I'm going to win. So these two people are going to compete for the title of the Christmas queen or king. They have no business doing that. But they just do it, one, because her aunt told her to, and then the other one just out of spite. By the way, if you hear dogs in the background, that's because I'm at my friend's house, because tonight I might not do as much reading as I hoped to, because we're gonna go and enjoy the local festival of lights that our town is hosting. I'm gonna live a little bit of Christmas magic myself, because I feel like I'm slowly turning into a Grinch with all this nonsense that's going on in the world. But yeah, gonna do that a little bit. I'm gonna take you guys with me. I think it's gonna be fun, and then I'm gonna see you when I have the next update with my reading.
I'm gonna share this, okay?
I got the hot chili, spicy one. I'm from southern Michigan.
Alright, you guys, it is not really a reading update that I anticipated to give. It's just me coming on here to tell you that I finally finished Megan Quinn's How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. It took me a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's probably because I was unrealistically judging my reading abilities. It was actually the longest book of the entire vlog. I believe I mentioned that it was like almost 500 pages, and that's, I think, what my main problem with this book is. It did not need to be 500 pages. There's nothing that serious to say in a holiday romance book. I am so sorry. Up until 50% of the book, I truly enjoyed it. It was so fun. It was very festive. The Kringle town was really cool setting. I enjoyed the characters, but right after 50% mark, everything went downhill for me. Our characters got together, and I believe the author just forgot about the rest of the book. The rest of the plot, the rest what matters, the Kringle competition, everything went out of the window. As soon as they got together, we just got the same loop of repetitive events. Spicy scenes, flirting dialogue, banter, them pretending, them not pretending, them kind of preparing for the competition but not, spicy scenes, them pretending, you know what I'm saying? I was skimming. The second half of the book, I was like, oh God. Especially, like I said, I may come for the spice and a little bit of smut. I really, enjoy it from time to time. But just sometimes you need to know when to stop. That's in my opinion. So I was like, we gotta get to it. And the build up that we got for like the resolve of this Kringle competition, nowhere to be found in the end. It was literally just like described in 2 sentences. Now again, it was probably my problem because I anticipated a little bit more from this book. Fell flat for me, I'm sorry. I think if I were to rank it, I don't know, maybe 2.5, 3 stars. I don't know if it's too harsh or not, but it's just like what feels right in my heart, especially now when I like set a little bit with it. Very fun, very festive, just too long. Overall, me remembering how I started this vlog, I did not anticipate actually enjoying it. I still cannot say that I'm fully converted and I'm a romance girly now. I believe I'm gonna keep my stance a little bit, but this reading challenge or reading vlog, it was a challenge for me definitely to just read romance books for a week. But through it, I was able to find my new favorite romance book, The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. Who would have thought? Overall, if I were to rank all the books that I've read, I think it would go something like this. Number 1, definitely The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year. Number 2, surprisingly, Cruel Winter with You by Ellie Hazelwood. Then we would have Megan Quinn's How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. And yeah, Elfemies to Lovers. It was, oh God. I am not going to talk about this book. You've seen enough. Another surprising thing, and something that I am very proud of, is that I was able to read 3 books and 1 short novella in the span of 1 week. I wouldn't call myself necessarily a slow reader, but I genuinely never read that much in 1 week before. Between having 2 jobs and like other hobbies or like responsibilities and duties, I don't really carve enough time for like reading, especially reading that much. But I think this reading vlog truly motivated me to pick up a book every time there was like a lull in time when I was like doing something. So I've discovered for myself that all I have to do to motivate myself to read a little bit more is to start a reading vlog. And I am actually not joking. If there are some books you guys want to see me read, please leave your suggestions down below in the comments because I think that reading vlogs are going to be like my new thing. And as always, thank you so much for making it to the very end of the video. I love you guys. See you in the next bookmas.